This morning, country music star Jason Aldean is defending his controversial music video after it was pulled from rotation on CMT.
Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
Critics have blasted Try That in a Small Town, saying it has a pro-lynching undertone.
I can't remember a time, at least in the last 30 years, where a video got yanked because suddenly there was an uproar.
In the video, images are projected on a building, some showing clips of protests, looting, and tense police encounters.
Carjacking old lady at a red light. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store.
It is utterly ridiculous how the mainstream media has the sheer nerve to claim that they feel that Jason is all about pro-lynching, when all he's trying to say is that it's okay for people to defend themselves. You know, whether we be talking about the riots that recently happened in France or the unrest following George Floyd, you know, that one situation which got dozens of people killed nationwide and caused nearly $2 billion worth of damage. And then there's about $1 billion worth of damage done in France. Or, you know, we could also be referring to, I don't know, let's say January 6th. Yeah, I find it kind of ironic how the media has the nerve to call an angry mob that are trying to commit arson. One moment they like to call them angry protesters. One moment later, then they have the sheer nerve to call them rioters/terrorists. I guess they only call them terrorists when they happen to be a threat to them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make light of January 6th. But, you know, what's interesting is I do recall that one girl, Ashley Babbitt, being shot and killed by an officer. Now, despite the fact that she was unarmed, I mean, she didn't have a Molotov cocktail in her hand, or a handgun, or a baseball bat, or anything that could have taken somebody's life. But I remember most of the liberal media had no problem whatsoever with her getting shot dead by an officer. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, this is what happens when you join an angry mob. Not only are you endangering other people's lives, but you're just endangering your own life. Because, you know, whether the people you're confronting are officers or storekeepers, you know what? They have no idea what your intentions are. All they see is a giant mob of people charging in their way, and in their thought process, they're all probably going to be beaten to death.
What did you think this individual was doing at that moment?
She was posing a threat to United States House of Representatives.
But an attorney for Ashley Babbitt's family disputes that. He did not respond to our request for a comment, but in a previous statement said Babbitt was not brandishing a weapon, not in close proximity to members of Congress, and was not an imminent threat of death or serious injury to anyone. Based on your training, in that case, does it matter that the person was armed or not?
According to law, it does not.
I mean, you had like at max $3 million worth of damage done during January 6th. And as I mentioned, literally billions during the unrest following George Floyd, $1 billion during France. Yeah, you know, what they went through is basically just a mere taste of what the average civilians have to go through. As far as I'm concerned, it's us civilians, us middle and lower class people, us blue collar people, who are basically the ones that feed the rich and powerful. As far as I'm concerned, all these politicians would be absolutely nothing without us. And for them to have the sheer nerve and audacity to claim that, you know, us picking up arms and defending ourselves and our loved ones is somehow an act of terrorism is the biggest slap in the face to America and to its poor and working class. I mean, I know a lot of the leftist media loves to defend these, you know, these so-called angry protesters who are out, you know, killing people and committing mass arson and looting when they're responding to, you know, let's say the unlawful killing of a black person, proclaiming like, well, you know, they're just fighting to get rid of fascism. You know, they almost make it sound as if, you know, anti-fascism isn't capable of going too far. I have to kind of disagree with that, because when you look back to when the war in Ukraine, how it first started, you had Putin himself claiming that he was there to denazify the entire country. He claimed he was there to fight fascism. And while he was still proclaiming all this crap, you already had thousands of fatalities in Ukraine.
Almost 80 years after the fall of the Third Reich, Russian President Vladimir Putin still claims to be at war with National Socialism. His stated goals of denationalizing and denazifying Ukraine were, at least publicly, his motivation for a brutal invasion that has already claimed thousands of lives.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with anti-fascism, just only when you take it to its most extreme. And, seeing as how, those extreme anti-fascist groups have been causing the vast majority of the riots, it hasn't been the Proud Boys or Oath Keepers or neo-Nazis. No, it's been your extreme anti-fascists that have been doing that. And seeing as how those riots just recently happened in France, I would imagine that a lot of people in America are going to start getting pretty riled up by that. And it's not too long from now that most likely here in America, you'll see your next major wave of race riots. And with that being said, I would recommend for people to prepare themselves for that. And with that being said, please leave your thoughts and comments down below and try to stay safe out there.